Hello friends, so today we are going to discuss as written in my copy conditional connectives. Last day on the lecture 1 part we discussed logical connectives and their types, and today we are going to discuss conditional connectives and their types. So first of all, the first type of conditional connective is implication, and it denotes by a sign, this one. So this is called P implies Q, and we can denote the implication by two signs, this one and this one also, this one and this one also. So let P and Q be two propositions, then P implies Q is false if and only if. So we first have to understand that whenever conditional connectives are there, we only need to understand that there is a condition, that is if and only if. And so then P implies Q is false if and only if P is true and Q is false, otherwise it is true. Hence the truth table will be P consists of P and Q variable, and this is the P implies Q. So as written in this explanation, that P implies Q is false if and only if P is true and Q is false. So we have to find where P is true and Q is false. So we can see that here P is true and Q is false. So then P implies Q will be false and the rest conclusion will be true. So hope we have understood the implication. So another type of conditional connective is converse, and converse is nothing but just the opposite form of implication. There was P implies Q and here is Q implies P. So let me take you to the example. Let P implies Q is if Buku works hard, he comes first in the exam. Then Q implies P is if Buku comes first in the exam, then he works hard. So the Q implies P will be true if and only if Buku works hard. Then the Q implies P proposition or the statement will be true. So here is the truth table of converse. So here the logic is Q implies P is false if and only if P is false and Q is true. So here the truth table as follows. So here when P is false and Q is true, then the Q implies P is false and rest of the conclusions are true. So now this is the contrapositive. Let P implies Q is an implication, then its contrapositive is the implication implies negation of Q implies negation of P. So the truth table as follows. So the truth table is PQ variables. There is true, 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 false, false, true, and false, false. So here the negation of Q, that is true, false, false, true, true, false, and false, true. And here is the negation of P. So the negation of Q implies negation of P will be just follow the basic implication rule. So when negation of Q is true and negation of P is false, then only the negation of Q implies the negation of P will be false, otherwise it will be true. So this is the basic formula of contrapositive. So now it's the inverse. Let P be an implication, then its inverse is the implication. Negation of P implies negation of Q. So here the P and Q variables truth table as follows. So it's true, 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 false, false, true and false, false. And this is the negation of P values and this is the negation of Q values. And the negation of P implies negation of Q is just follows the basic rule of implication. So where the negation of P is true and negation of Q is false, then only the negation of P implies negation of Q is false, otherwise the conclusions are true. So here, so this is the expansion of inverse. And now this is the biconditional proposition. And this is biconditional proposition. So there is another type of proposition that is called biconditional proposition, and that denotes by this sign. So this is P biconditional to Q, or we can denote this by this sign also. And this truth table is as follows, like when both the value of this P and Q variables are same, then only it's true, otherwise this is false. So the truth table follows the same rule, like when both are true, then the P biconditional Q is true, and there is also both are false, then the P biconditional to Q is true, rest both the values are false. So this is the simple explanation of biconditional proposition. So today we covered conditional connectives, and that is first one was implication, second one was converse, then contrapositive, and then the inverse, and last one I've discussed biconditional proposition. So hope I have make you understood those topics, and my next part will be on simple and compound proposition. So stay connected with this channel and subscribe this channel, and never miss to press the bell icon so you'll be updated